Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Master Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. How's everybody doing today? It's good to see all your smiley faces, as we always say when we kick off our show. Hey, if you're not having a good day, stay right with us. We're going to make you smile. We're going to entertain you. We're always going to have a good time here at JMS. That's the Jim Masters Show. We are approaching something like 500 episodes of this series, which I think is absolutely astounding because, we work really hard behind the scenes putting all these shows together. We have a lot of light, love, and levity. We always have good times. These shows are not scripted. There's no teleprompters. There's no pre-written questions if we have guests on. We just throw the lights on and we have a good time with all of you. Welcome to our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. I am your host, Jim Masters. You guys know I do this work professionally in television and radio, and we are having a blast with all of you. Thanks for all of the great comments you guys have been posting away on our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. Matter of fact, if you enjoy this episode, give it a thumbs up on our YouTube channel. Post a comment underneath as well. That really helps us big time. And subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. That is Jim Masters TV. The show is The Jim Masters Show. The channel where we house the show, where we broadcast the show from, is on YouTube, and it's Jim Masters TV, the channel you're watching right now. So click that red subscribe button. We would absolutely love that. And give us some famous levity. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And while you're doing that, make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the amazing content, the episodes that we broadcast to you just about 7 days a week. And sometimes we do surprise pop-up shows, on-location shows, holiday theme shows, birthday party shows. We just had our epic 4-hour birthday party show not that long ago, and it was really amazing. So, and you guys are so active. You're commenting already in comments, and we thank you very much. You can comment. We appreciate that. And I think what's really cool is all the viewers say hello to one another. They always welcome the guest, and they always welcome new viewers. As I do, they do as well. That's why we call our viewers the Lovities. Last year, I said light, love, and levity, and I said love and levity too fast. I know I've said this multiple times, but we're always getting new viewers who don't know the levity story, so I try to let them know. The reason why you hear levity so much is because I said light, love, and levity last summer. I said love and levity too fast, and I said the word levity. From that point forward, our viewers call themselves the Levity Squad. They call me Mr. Levity. This is Levity Hall. And the viewers also welcome our guests as part of the Levity family. You're not going to find that anywhere else, but right here on the Jim Masters Show, because we're very interactive and we do this show as a television show, not just like a podcast, because I work in TV. We sort of craft this and produce this and carry this through like a TV series, and you guys would be the studio audience, which I think is awesome. So we have amazing guests. If you're joining us for the first time, we do have amazing guests, celebrity friends and guests that come in from all walks of life and fields of endeavor and levels of success, coming from everywhere: Broadway, Hollywood, TV, film, music, stage, theater, science and nature, health and wellness, culinary arts, comedy, sports, inspiration, psychics. I mean, we have everybody, and we love it. Mainly, we love all of you. Thanks for, again, supporting the show, watching the series. It means a lot. A lot of people we've all been connected as a result of this. And many of you have asked, will we continue to do this series once the pandemic calms down, or hopefully, fingers crossed, ends? Again, this show, at the time of this show, when we're doing this show right now, the pandemic is still on, but you could be watching this a year from now, and hopefully that's well past and it's in the history books. But people have asked, are we going to continue doing this? And I say, absolutely. As long as you are here watching, supporting, sharing the links, telling everybody about the Jim Masters Show that you guys enjoy so much, we'll continue to be here for all of you. So I thank you, thank you, thank you again. Today we have a nice cup of coffee in our kind, generous, supportive you mug. Yes, and this came from one of our Levity viewers. This came from Karen Campbell Green up in Canada, in Nova Scotia. And if she's watching tonight, welcome, Karen, and welcome everybody that's watching right now. Kind, generous, supportive you. This goes out to all of our viewers, our Levities watching as well. So sip, sip. Very nice, and hope everybody's doing well. Got an amazing show in store for all of you. Yes, Galad Paz is here. Let me tell you that if you're not familiar with him, he is an amazing, amazing artist, and he's a wonderful tenor, performer, all-around entertainer. And Gilad is somebody who really is very energetic and passionate about what he does. And you may remember, in addition to the great work he's currently doing, you may remember that he was also on America's Got Talent. Yes. And we'll talk about that in just a second. And we're very excited about welcoming him to the show. There's some shots there right now, the wonderful duo performance. And again, he's just an all-around entertainer. And he's part of this group, this duo group that we're going to talk about in just a second, Voce Note. And let me tell you, if you have not heard them perform, well, here's a cool shot too. We're going to go over some of these. If you have not heard them perform, you're going to be in for, I love that shot. We'll talk about that and so much more. If you have not heard them perform, why don't we kick things off with a treat here? Listen to Voce Nova. Voce Nova is going to be doing the Star Spangled Banner. The name of the group is Voce Nova. And they're going to be doing the Star Spangled Banner and knock it out of the park. Give it a listen, and then we will welcome a very special guest to the show in just a second. Here it is, the United States National Anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. This is an amazing version.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And here he is.
Hello,
Direct
hello.
from
Play
New
balls,
York.
they say. Play ball.
Play ball. That's right. Pick your stadium of choice and throw that ball. That was amazing. Welcome, my friend. It's so great to have you here on the show. And how have you been? You know, we've been living in some crazy times lately. How have you stayed connected and creative, collaborative, and, as I always ask, sane? And usually that's when people say, I'm not so sure about that part, my friend. I will get back to you later.
Yeah. It's been an interesting time, as you know. Extra interesting, and I'm sure we'll touch on that because my pandemic started in a very interesting time. Because on March 14th, 2020, I was actually out in LA. Shooting America's Got Talent the day that all of Hollywood shut down. We were literally the last production standing in Hollywood before COVID just shut everything down. And, you know, it was a crazy day, and, you know, we can touch on that a little later, but it was weird. It's like we flew out there from New York. Myself, my singing partner Natalia, who is there in the shot, and my wife Lisa, who is our co-producer, and we flew out on March 13th, And we came back on March 15th, and it was almost like we went through a wormhole. And
Wow.
we left a vibrant New York and came back to, like, by the way, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, was the day that they shut down all of the bars. How ironic is that? That's the day that New York decided to shut down bars. So it's like,
I'm surprised there wasn't rioting in the streets about that.
right? Because remember, we all thought, I'm sure you, just like me, we're all like, oh, in a couple of weeks, it'll be fine. In July, it'll be fine. In September, it'll be fine. In January, it'll be fine. So, we were all just like, okay, it's just gonna happen. And so I'll tell you this, like, I've always been a very busy kind of guy. I perform a lot. I sing opera, I sing pop, I sing rock, I sing Israeli music. I do all kind of different things. And on top of that, being that I'm in New York, I've also had a correlating career. My friend Dana Varga actually coined that term, a correlating career, as a real estate agent here in New York City, which has helped me create this amazing artistic life that I'm so grateful for. So it was interesting. So for me, when it started, I said, I mean, with the encouragement of both my partner and my wife, they're like, maybe take the time to chill, take a couple of weeks to just like sleep and just, take that break that the universe is giving you right now, giving all of us, under not great circumstances, but it gave it to us. And I did just that. And then because I'm, you might recognize this as a Renaissance man yourself. It's hard for us to just sit quietly and not do really anything.
I created this show.
So what I did was actually start immersing myself in some music business content online. And by the end of April 2020, I realized that a calling that I never actually had a chance to pursue was coaching. I very much like you, my friend. I'm a very community-oriented person. I love helping people. I love being there for people. I'm a big connector, and I'm the biggest cheerleader for my friends and my colleagues. And I've had these conversations over the years about what it's like to be an artist and approaching art and music from a business mindset, because if we want to make it our job, if we want to make money in any of the arts, we have to treat it like a business.
And a lot of artists they're not as astute with that because they're so focused on the art, the creation of the art, and their passion and really what it is that they're doing, their talent, that sometimes, and you've seen stories where sometimes artists of all kinds, whether they're actors, singers, performers, whatever it may be, the business side of things goes by the wayside, and that sort of catches up with you. And you really have to be a business person as much as you are the performer, the talent, right?
100%. And there's nothing. And again, it's funny because, when we talk about this and you just mentioned it, they're busy creating their art, which is amazing. However, we know that the art doesn't promote itself. The art doesn't. And yes, there are always, and it's funny, people talk about the idea of like being discovered. And how many times have you had people on the show saying, oh yeah, my overnight success only took 30 years,
Right. Yeah. I'll ask some of them, and they're people who have done a lot of different things. And I'll say, what was that big break for you? And they'll say, I'm still waiting for it.
Right, exactly. So it's putting yourself in the right place in order to be discovered, in order to, be in the right place at the right time with your art, with yourself, with your idea of who you are as an artist and as a person, fully formed for people to find out about you and who you are. And that is a really exciting thing for me to be able to do and help my fellow artists. And we can dig into that a little bit also, just the idea of coaching, being a business coach for musicians. And it's twofold. On the one hand, I help musicians who are, emerging, find that maybe other stream of income that will help them create the things that they really want to do and give them the freedom to say no, which is very important in our business.
And that easier said than done, right? So you teach them how to be able to. You and I were just talking about that.
Yeah.
I had to learn. It took me to drive alone through Death Valley to learn to create those boundaries and to be able to make sure I have the things I need too, so I can then continue to help and provide for others.
100%. Like you said, and you mentioned this before, and I'm happy that you mentioned it now, because I wanted to say this. When you put, and I actually wrote a whole email about this to my community. When you put your own oxygen mask on first,
yes,
it is much easier to shine your light afterwards.
Yeah.
And especially in these, in the very dark times that we've been, living through, it has been so, especially with artists, because we feel it. So I feel like we feel our own grief and dealing with our own stuff. And again, anybody who's watching, I mean, you all probably know that the arts were the first to close and the last to open. Yeah. And we all kind of knew that going in. So on top of that, of our own grief about, what's going on, we also feel the grief of the world. We feel the grief of the people around us, our community, So at a certain point, I had to say, listen, we need to make sure if watching the news is not good for you, put on your oxygen mask first. Disconnect from that. It doesn't mean that you're disconnecting completely, but you are giving yourself and your mind a break to be able to shine your light and help whoever and however you can. So that's an important thing I just wanted to, touch on, because you mentioned that, and your story when we spoke before was, I felt that so deeply. So I just wanted to share with you that your realization of putting your own oxygen mask on first is the way that you are helping and shining the Gym Master's light on the world. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for acknowledging and recognizing it. For the story for the audience who's watching is that Death Valley story, of course, which I mentioned a couple of times here on the show. And everybody's like, gee, Jim, you wish that people were in the car with you so you can facilitate their pleasure and really have them experience it. And that brings you joy, delivering joy to others as a conduit. However, the way you describe it, and there's more to it, but in the condensed version, just describing that Death Valley story and what happened to me and the life-changing, wonderful things that have happened in that journey, we feel like we were in the car with you. The way you describe it, we feel the richness and depth of what it was that you saw and experienced, that we didn't need to be in the car with you to pick up that vibe and just really understand the life-changing experience it was for you, which I think is pretty cool when people say that. And like you're saying, you sort of felt that just in the few minutes of it that I described to you before we went on the air.
Yeah, 100%. And there's this universal connection. And again, as artists, as storytellers,
we are, yes.
Being able to convey that is also a great skill to have. And this is also something that I work with my clients on, just finding those sets of skills that are so easy for them, and how do you take that and create a unique brand as an artist, as a person, to go out into the world and say, I'm doing all these cool things together, combining them. And as you know, I've been doing that for a long time with, my music and, finding the different things that I find to be very easy. The idea of going into the business side has been very easy for me, but it's not something that's easy for many other artists. And that's why I'm so excited to now be immersed in this work. Now I've had my coaching business at the Marketable Musician for a year, or over a year, a year and 2 months now, and it's been amazing.
Happy anniversary!
Thank you very much, and it's been amazing to work with speak. I mean, Jim, you are amazing. You've been doing this, and you know what it's like to get on these conversations. Not 500, but I've spoken with over 150 musicians in the last year and couple of months. Just hearing different people, how people have been dealing with this whole situation, and it's really, honestly, it's pretty amazing, the resilience of artists, and understanding the resilience is also a big part of what I do. And speaking of what I've been doing in this whole time, one of the things was actually watching myself on America's Got Talent, which was interesting, especially in a year that is kind of weird, of course. And that was an amazing experience. And
how did that happen? How did the America's Got Talent situation happen for you?
Here is the scoop. Okay, this is it. I know that you love these, kind of scoops. So for anyone who ever wants to get on the show, we
have a graphic for that. It's called a world premiere exclusive.
There you go. So this is a world premiere exclusive of how to get on these shows. Okay, so let's I will tell you exactly how this goes. So you're looking at someone who has tried out for 4 different times before actually getting on this show. So I did the cattle call auditions for the Israeli Idol competition, American Idol, The Voice, and America's Got Talent in 2017. None of those times actually worked. And I've learned a lot through these experiences. And what I've learned is this: the one way to get on these shows is to go directly to the production team. What I did, funny enough, was just put out a Facebook post. And on this Facebook post, I said, hey, do I know anybody connected to the America's Got Talent production team? And this wonderful woman, who is a kind of satellite friend, someone who was a stage manager for me back in 2012 in a small little production with an opera company here in New York City, reached out and said, my friend actually was on the show last year. And I said, amazing, can you connect us? This guy is a comedian, and he was on there, and she connected us via Facebook Messenger, and we started a little conversation. And even though he did not feel like he could vouch for me, because he doesn't know what we do as Voce Nova, he did say, you know what? Here's the information for the casting director that I worked with. So I saw that this casting director actually had a post on her social media saying, we are casting, send us your stuff. So I got in touch with her. We sent her. So this is how it goes for anyone that you see on the show, okay, in the audition side. First, you go through the casting director. You send that in. So we sent a video audition. Then she said, okay, I want you to try a couple of other things, record it again, and send it again. So we did that. Then she said, okay, I love it. Let me take it to my bosses. So they look at that. Then they call us and they said, okay, great news. We want you to come to the auditions in New York, and you are going to be what we call a Q act. That means that you're not there in the cattle call with thousands of people. You have a time that you're going to come in and perform. Okay, wonderful. This is going to be in there. This is going to be in front of a higher up producer, which is great, because I will share that in 2017, when I did this, actually with a piece that was connected to Op Rock, which is the predecessor of Voce Nova, I was in a room with 9 other singers, 9 other performers. The producer that was in the room did not lift his head from his laptop for 1 second. He then said, okay, everyone, thank you very much. We're not really what you're looking for. You're not really what we're looking for. And then everybody's looking around like, these three guys didn't even go yet, me included.
Yeah.
It's like, he didn't even look. He just like,
Yeah. Was
So-
totally checked out. Yeah.
he sent everybody out and then left the three of us there. And then I sang and he still didn't look up from his laptop. And guess what he said? Thank you very much. You're not what we're looking for. It's like, oh, got it. So you're not even paying any attention after we were there for 8 hours just waiting to get an audition. So the difference here, going through that channel, is that now we had a producer sitting there in front of our faces, looking, and a camera that was shooting it to get it to the NBC folks. So we go in, we do our audition. By the way, after 4 days that I was sick, I finished the audition. I had a tickle in my throat. I had to run out and just like cough my lungs out.
Hold that thought. Just got to clear my throat.
Yeah, right? It's like, so we're like, thank you very much. We will let you know. The first producer we spoke with said that we're not going to hear from them until February. But what happened was, at that same day, at 4 o'clock, she gives me a call and says, hey, just wanted to let you know that we are about an hour before the end of our day, and that Voce Nova is one of 11 acts that were sent to NBC to see if we're going to bring you to Hollywood. That is 11 acts out of thousands of people that day. So we are super excited. And then it took this was November 23rd, 2019. And then it took till Christmas. And I remember Natalia and I were just going to like a Christmas party that we're invited to. And we get a call. I'm like, oh, it's a producer. It's like, hey guys, it's not set in stone, because you know how it is. Everything, they always have like,
always change.
you know,
Like you could be in a movie or a TV show and end up on the cutting room floor. Right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So they say nothing is set in stone, but you're going to go to LA in March to shoot the show. And we were losing our minds. We were so excited.
Just had to be, yeah.
So to get on there, we actually had to go through 4 different yeses to actually get on that stage. This is something that people don't know. So this is your exclusive, people. If you are interested in getting on any kind of those shows, by the way, doesn't matter which one it is, any kind of reality show, go directly, try to find your way to a production. And I know, Jim, that you've probably learned this over the years, but none of us, no matter who's watching, we are 6 degrees of separation from anyone else. So I'm sure, and I encourage you to put out your feelers if you are looking to get on a show like that, and do that and see who might know someone who might know someone who can get you on a show like that. And even on a year that was insane, that show has been a true blessing, because even though we had a no, and it was a very difficult day, because we showed up, we didn't even know if we were going to be in LA. As I mentioned, we flew in on March 13th. March 11th at midnight, I was still emailing with the production team over in LA saying, listen, are there any other dates in case we need to cancel? We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it was insane. But we were able to be there. And it was probably the most insane day of my life to be on America's Got Talent, because we showed up at 10 a.m. Everything is bustling. They're shooting B-roll. They're, doing social media stuff. They're doing all these, there's lights everywhere. All these acts are getting ready and warming up and singing and dancing and all this different stuff. And we're all in a really great mood. And then at 1:30 in the afternoon, they say, okay, everyone, come around. And we have a producer come up and say this. Hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm one of the executive producers here. The union is shutting us down. As of tonight, we are done with shooting America's Got Talent for the auditions for this season.
Situation.
Right now, anyone who is back here who is not in the hall shooting the show is going home. So at 1:30, all of the reality folks people, all of the, the people who were dealing with content, interviews. We were the last interview that they had, like a pre performance interview that they had before they shut it down. Everybody went home. Within an hour, it was the twilight zone. All of a sudden, they turn off the lights.
Were people crying and a lot of
No,
emotion?
I think we were all, we were in shock.
Yeah.
Like we were just like, and I got into this like producer mode. Like, okay, what are we doing? How are we making sure that we're here? All this. And then my wife's like, stop being the producer. You are the talent today. Just chill. Meanwhile,
follow their lead. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Natalia, my partner, is just like laying there on the floor, meditating, doing her thing. I'm like trying to walk around and like, because for me, being the extrovert that I am, like for me, what puts me in a good place is chatting with people. Met some amazing people that we are still friendly with and that we've had, we've had Instagram live chats with, and, and actually we met the very cool spoken word poet who was the first one ever on America's Got Talent and won the show last year. So we're just chatting. I'm chatting. I'm trying to like be in the right place. We don't even know at this point. Nobody's talking to us. We don't even know if the shoot is actually going to happen. We are sitting there. So we are in this limbo for the next 7 hours. We have no idea what's going on. They're starting to shoot. They're sending people to the hotel. They're saying, okay, go to the hotel. We'll call you. We're like, we are not moving. If they say we're shutting down in 20 minutes, whoever is here is going to do it. We are not going anywhere near we are here. And eventually they send us up. And the performance that people have seen on America's Got Talent was after 11 hours in that space and 8 hours of Twilight Zone. And that, Jim, is why we are so proud of this performance and the fact that we had no one in the audience. Jim, could you imagine getting excited for a show?
The roar of the crowd.
To have 3,000 people get so excited because what we chose was a really kind of like a number that was made to get people up in their seats and dancing.
Yes.
And then
tell them the number that you decided on performing.
What was that?
Tell the audience about the number that you guys selected.
Yeah. So
in case they didn't see it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's a performance coming up in just a moment. We will have one specifically for the Lovedies, live here on the Jim Masters Show.
Cool.
So we were excited because we're just like, we're going to have 3,000 people perform, getting excited for our performance. We're going to have these judges. Wow. Doesn't matter if one of them doesn't like it. They're going to, be, outvoted, by the audience. And then we had 0 people. And it was, and we were in a really good mindset and we did our thing. But we knew it was going to be an uphill battle. So we're doing our thing and we get to that place. So we sang Libiamo. However, we had a twist. We gave it a Moroccan beat at the end. So all of a sudden it goes, godiamo la tazza, il canti con la notte bella e riso in questo paradiso ne scoprai nuovo di. And when we do this live, the entire audience is up on their feet. They don't even know why, but something about that beat makes you want to dance, makes you excited. And we didn't have anyone there to share it with us. Now, Sophia and Howie did enjoy it. Heidi Klum, the only, European in the voting, in the judges panel, was sick that day. So the one person who didn't like it was Simon Cowell. But when Simon Cowell doesn't like it, and there's no audience, to boo him for his decision.
For his decision.
That's what made it, what it was.
Yeah.
However, we were extremely proud of that performance,
That whole
and
experience, even getting there,
Oh,
everything
yeah.
you went through, and all the, tenacity and everything, just getting there and doing it is something that is a badge of honor for sure.
yeah, and we are so proud of that, and even more so, we are really proud of the impression that we made on the production team, because
And the viewers.
there were people on our show
Yeah.
who got no's and had 10 seconds on the show.
Yeah.
There were people on our day who got yeses, 3 yeses, and
then,
had 50 seconds on the show and never to be seen again. We, even though we got a no, we had a full 4.5-minute segment on the show, and they put us on their YouTube channel, which was only us and 2 other very gimmicky kind of acts
yeah.
were on there. And we are so grateful, because not only were we seen by 10 million people in the US and many more millions around the world. I actually had a call from my cousin in Israel saying, "Hey, you're on my TV," which was really cool. But they also put us on the YouTube channel, which that video of us already has over 500,000 views. So we are so grateful to be able to say that, as seen on America's Got Talent. And that has opened many doors that were not open to us before, and will open many more, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are amazing together anyway. And I want to show you guys do this incredible version of the incredible Leonard Cohen song, Hallelujah. But you don't just do it the traditional everyday way that we hear it. You both do it in 14 languages.
15 if you count American Sign Language, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we've got a clip of that, my friend, and I want to show everybody. I know it's going to knock them, on their feet here. Get ready, gang. This is Hallelujah, Voce Nova, and it's going to be done in 15 languages.
14 languages and one that is this. When you see this, that's American Sign Language.
Right, and you see that being done in this video. Take a look, folks, and then we'll be back with a very special guest in just a second. Get ready to be moved. This is really something very special. Here we go. That is incredible. That really is incredible.
Thank you.
Take for you guys to do that and to get all those languages down as well.
Yeah.
Seamless for you, and for her, it's seamless.
Thank you so much. We are both classically trained singers. So we take it was Natalia's idea. Especially, we actually recorded this and released it. We recorded last November. We released it December 15th of 2020 in the height of the insanity. And Natalia's idea was to really find something that would be a unifier, something that could, really talk to how we are all in this together. And we just sat down and because we are classically trained singers, we actually love the challenge of singing in different languages. I've sung a full opera in Czech. She has sung in Thai before. And we just, what we did was we decided to kind of figure out a way to create something that was universal. And what I did was actually reach out to friends of mine who are native speakers of the language. So this, all you lovedies watching, this is not Google Translate. Highly not as someone who speaks Hebrew fluently, I will tell you, do not use Google Translate when you actually are trying to record something and making sure that you're not saying anything that you're not supposed to be saying, especially in languages, for example, like Mandarin, where even the way that the inflection goes changes the meaning of the language. So I made sure. So I reached out to friends and said, okay, please help me out. Please, if you can translate this to your language, write me a transliterated version of it, and also record it slowly, just speaking it, either on your, just speaking them. And if you can record it in rhythm, if they were musicians, I said, if you could record it in rhythm, that would be very helpful. And that's the kind of work that we did to get there, because we wanted to make sure. I did not want any of these, like, the last thing that we wanted was to offend anyone, right, or to say something like, and I'm sure that I know you have an international audience. So I'm sure that people in your international audience have seen even, English translated in their country. And they're like, that's not the way you're supposed to say that in English, but thanks Google Translate. So we wanted to make sure that this was really something different and respectful to everyone. And I'm so happy that you showed this and you like this. It's really this whole Voce Nova thing is just, we love pushing boundaries, and you seeing that and saying, oh, this is worth showing, actually is a very Natalia is going to be really happy to hear that too, because we try to connect.
Well, you guys are true entertainers as well, and we found another clip that we want to show. Just shows the range from that Star Spangled Banner was extraordinary, the 15 different ways to do for Voce Nova to do Hallelujah, which was spectacular. But you also do this diverse show for Jewish communities, as well as one of the many, many different things that you guys do in your repertoire. Tell us about this, and then we'll show that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So since we are both originally from Israel, this is also something that I talk about a lot in my with my clients in the marketable musician community, about how we can always tap into our own background to find opportunities.
I should mention that beforehand too. You have New Jersey first, and Israel, and then Long Island, New York, and then Israel. And tell us a little bit about, and Natalia's from Israel originally as well. So tell us about that. You've been like all over.
Yeah. So I was born in Teaneck, New Jersey, to Israeli parents. My father was here for school, and they were here for 4 years. I was born smack in the middle of it. And then at about 3 years old, I made Aliyah. That is, migrated to Israel. Went back with my parents. Grew up in a town called Ra'anana, which means fresh in Hebrew, and that is 20 minutes north of Tel Aviv. So I grew up there. Then at 14, my father got a job on Long Island and relocated the family to Plainview. So Plainview, Long Island. And I lived there for 3 years. That's actually where I met my wonderful wife, Lisa. We met in high school at a radio class that was conducted by one of your former guests, Adam Weinstock, producer extraordinaire and dear friend. And we are very grateful for him to this day, and we are very good friends. And that's where I met her. And that's actually where I started singing more classical stuff. Plainview had a wonderful choral program. So after singing years of pop and rock and things like that, and singing in children's groups in Israel, there's a thing. This might be interesting for you all Levities to know about, and Jim, you as well. In Israel, there's a very prevalent culture of singing in general. Everybody is a singer, which makes it very hard to be a singer in Israel. Actually, part of the reason why I came back to the States. But in municipalities that have the resources, the financial resources, they have children groups that actually sing. Multiple of them all over the country. So my town had a group of 25 kids. At 10 years old, I was singing live with mics on stage, doing some choreography, singing original arrangements of Israeli pop songs, singing harmony. I learned so much, and then came to the States and sang some more choral works. and something that I've never done before, singing some Telemann, singing Bach. Like this was a very good high school program, like not as much of the kind of musical theater arrangements that are happening a lot today in choirs, more like real classical singing, which was which opened a whole new world to me. I listened to classical music growing up, but it opened up a whole new world to me with singing. And then, so I'm here singing classical, then went back to Israel in 2000. And I had a year and a half before my compulsory army service started. So what I did was actually go to a jazz and contemporary school in Israel called Rimon. Back then it was kind of unknown. Today it's the biggest jazz and contemporary school in Israel. And went into the army, and actually for 3 years, for 2.5 out of my 3 years of service, I actually sang in the army. I was in the Armored Corps Entertainment Group, going from base to base, going to high schools, actually being the opening act for some very big popular bands at the time. So I got to hang out with some real celebrities, celebrity musicians. So I sang, pop music there as well. And then I decided to move back here right after the army. At 22 years old, I decided to leave my family and friends 5,000 miles away and moved back to New York to pursue my singing career. And that was 16 years ago. And interestingly enough, when I met Natalia, my singing partner, we met in a concert, a house concert, opera house concert. And we sat down and we had a conversation beforehand to figure out the repertoire and all that. And we figured out that her history is extremely similar to mine. She was born in Belarus, made Aliyah to Israel at age 3 with her parents, with her family. She grew up singing in the Tel Aviv version of my kids group that I was in, and then came to the States after her army service to study opera. And I went to Queens College and she went to Brooklyn College. So we had this very, very similar path. She also loves crossover. She actually recorded a crossover album. I created op rock, which we can talk about a little bit about as well. And we decided to make something happen, the two of us. So what we do in our show, so a Voce Nova performance is usually happens in corporate events, fundraisers, private parties, very high-end kind of events. And what we do is we combine the luxury of classical with the excitement of contemporary and classic pop music. So we create these really cool mashups and combination of things that you may not expect. We just had our first show in a closed venue to the public, in 2 years in New York, a couple of weeks ago, and we actually debuted 7 brand new songs. Wow. And these mashups, we're talking Nessun Dorma with We Are the Champions. We're talking Carmen, the Habanera, with Smooth by Santana. Aha, Take On Me with the Queen of the Night. And this one we're actually very proud of. And this is also, you can put the exclusive on here because people will hear it, hopefully very soon, on all the platforms. We created a mashup of Ave Maria, the Schubert Ave Maria.
Wow. Did you really?
With Take Me to Church by Hozier.
What a combination. What a blend that is, huh?
Yeah, and it works. Let me tell you, some mashups are really hard to work in.
Yeah.
This one wrote itself. It was, and people saw it on a couple of weeks ago, and they were shocked and crying and loving it because it is such a cool combination. And this is what I'm all about. Growing up listening to classical, singing pop, I've always looked for this way of creating something new. And bringing, and with the Libiamo, for example, with the Moroccan beat, that was our Jewish Israeli roots that came out. It's something that nobody has ever done. And when we tap into that, these kind of shows that you were talking about happen. These performing for Jewish organizations, performing in Jewish holidays, and creating shows that are specifically geared toward an audience that we know very well. On top of the shows that we customize for our private event and corporate event clients.
That is cool. That is cool. What a great story that is. What a great life's journey that is.
Very grateful.
Really
very
nice.
grateful for all of it, honestly.
So this is just one of the incredible fun things that they do. And again, this is something quite special. It's a diverse show. And this particular one is for Jewish communities. Again, they do so much for so many. And it's really cool stuff. Here's a little bit more of Voce doing their thing. Enjoy.
ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושלו עלו לכל שיריים אני כיתו טומבללייגה 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 ולך צוסי
אבנים יבוא היטב אבנים יבוא היטב
I tell you, the two of you too. Her voice is absolutely.
She is
too,
magnificent.
Huh?
Let me tell you.
Wow.
You can see this in the videos, but I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3". I'm a big man, and I command the stage. It is not easy to be on a stage with me. I'm a very generous colleague, but I understand that being with someone like this on stage is not easy. And let me tell you, when we did that first performance in that house concert on the Upper East Side, I record everything I do. So I came back home and I sat down with Lisa, my wife, and I said, you have to watch this. What do you think about her? And she watched and she said, this person can hang. This woman can be on a stage, and really, because what I love about Natalia is we are all about the audience. We love connecting. I think that's also in a way part of what we love about doing this, doing the not necessarily straight classical repertoire, because there's something about being able to really look an audience in the eye and really connect in this way of saying, I'm talking to you and you and you in a way that is just, I'm not a character. I mean, we always think about, because we have the classical training, we always approach our songs from we want to make sure that we know what we're saying. We want to make sure that we have something to say, musically, artistically, anything that like with that Hallelujah, we definitely had something to say there. But really connecting in a way that does not necessarily have a character there. Something that really is a person to person. And I personally, I play some guitar, Natalia plays some piano, but we don't like having something between us and an audience. We love being able to just, the most that I want in front of me and an audience is a mic stand. That is the most that I want. I don't like the barriers. I like the connection. I like to look people in the eye and bring them into the show. You know, I mean, I always quote Almost Famous, wonderful movie. If any of you lovedies haven't watched it, highly recommend Almost Famous, the Cameron Crowe film. Wonderful, great soundtrack, wonderful movie. And there's a character there of a lead singer of a band. And he says, I'm the lead singer. I get people off. I see the one person in the crowd that's not getting off, and I make him get off. And that has been something that for me, even, you know, before even seeing this film, has always been something that is so important to me, getting everyone involved. And that's why our Voce Nova repertoire is so diverse. And that we look for something that is both broad, like Time to Say Goodbye, like Hallelujah. You know, we sing it also in the just in English version as well in our shows. Just because it's, you know, it's harder with subtitles to like be able to do that in a show. And you know, the Phantom of the Opera in a very rock version that we do. But also going risky, like those mashups that we did, and trying to push the envelope. It's about pushing the envelope, but also in a way that everybody. Let me tell you, after every show that we do, people come up to us and every person has a different song that was their favorite, which is amazing for us. We love that because everybody has a great time in our show. And that's what we're all about, giving the audience a wonderful time, but also something that everyone can connect to. You know, something that is really speaking to their childhood, to their, you know, obviously when you're talking about, you know, I mean, Santana, you know, I mean, Smooth and the habanera and Smooth. I mean, how cool is that? How sexy is the habanera?
Blend. Yeah.
And then you bring in, you know, like, you know, she's and all of a sudden I go in and it's just like the ocean under the moon is the same as the emotion. And at the same time, she's going, it's like, it's such a cool thing. And people are like, wait, what's happening? But they love it because it connects to whatever it is for them. And, you know, as an artist, as, you know, we always try to connect. We always try to see, and we try not to, I know about me, I would be interested with you as well. Like, I never try to impose my story on my audience. I want them to figure out what it means to them. I try not to kind of frame it in a certain way so they can feel what it's like. You know, I mean, has that been like your experience? I know it's a little bit different with, you know, with shows and things like that, but like, you know, the relating to an audience, how does that feel on your end?
Yes, the same exact thing. I'm always looking for ways to relate to and find the thread to what they're offering and what they're sharing and what they're saying in conjunction with what I'm saying. I'm looking for that relatability. I always like to have that thread, that connective tissue. So even though, like with conversations like this or in my professional work as well, I'm always, even though that's why I don't do with a show like this, pre-scripted questions and all of that other. I like the free flow. I like, you know, you're learning about me. I'm learning about you. The viewers are watching, our lovedies from around the world. They're learning about me. They're learning about you. They're learning about themselves and elements and finding relatability in that connective tissue all at the same time. So I'm always looking for ways to connect, be communal, and to, you know, bring the best out of people, create the safe zone, make them feel welcome, but at the same time, find the relatability that I have with them and offer them elements of me, stories, tales, Death Valley story, all these different things that they can find different things about themselves that they connect to. And that's a beautiful thing. And, you know, usually oftentimes it happens not when it's scripted, it's when it's just happening at the moment. And those are some of the most incredible times, right?
Yeah, and that's what's amazing about live performance, you know, and during this you know, this pandemic, we've done a couple of live, we did actually a couple of live outdoor shows, which was amazing. And we were so happy to be able to do that actually in Connecticut, in the Bridgeport Marina, actually. We did a couple of like
Captain's
fancy
Cove.
Yeah, we did like a couple of fancy yacht shows, like yacht and helicopter shows and things like that. Yeah, really, really cool. And we did that, but we also did a few virtual shows, and it's so I mean, we do our thing and we're looking at a camera, but there is nothing like getting feedback live from an audience, and the energy that feeds into the performance from the audience is amazing. And when you really aim for that, to connect with as many people as you can, it's really exciting because you see the reactions to different songs, you see different things, and you see how all of a sudden the idea of classical is not as distant as they thought it was. And that was actually a very, I always say that Voce Nova is the successor of op rock. And that was my philosophy with op rock. Op rock was a concert that I created in 2015. And I actually, in 2015, in June 2015, I was on, there's a nice little photo. So this is a great segue because I was performing, not in this production. This is from a production of The Tales of Hoffmann with St. Petersburg Opera, where I actually did 4 different productions over the years. I'm singing in this scene. I am Spallanzani, who is the inventor and the creator of Olympia, the doll, the automaton, who Hoffmann falls in love with until she is dismembered by Spallanzani's partner, who decides to actually completely destroy her. And it's actually a very fun opera if anybody wants to watch that. That's also from the same production. I was singing Nathanael in the epilogue. It was actually a very cool thing. I had like a 2-minute quick change. I went from this to the other look in less than 2 minutes. It was really I love these challenges also in the arts. Oh, this is my favorite role that I've ever performed to date. And this was the witch in Hansel and Gretel with the Bronx Opera back in 2000, I want to say 2012. And with me is Alison Pohl, the soprano, magnificent soprano. And this was so much fun because, as you can see, I mean, you could kind of tell, I had a 3-week beard in that show. I actually grew out my beard for 3 weeks. I'm already 6'3", and I'm actually, I'm slouching here, but I'm 6'3", and I had another foot of hair on top of my head. So Allison's about 5'3", and she looked like a kid next to me. And if you look closely, my shoes are just like black work shoes. And the way that I walked around the stage was I just lifted my skirt and walked. Like, the idea here was not like, it was not drag. It was actually a man that just dresses like a woman. Yeah. And this is the witch. And it was so much fun. I had an amazing time. I mean, I'm a bit of a character myself, so doing these character roles is so much fun. And actually, I'll touch on this. Being 6'3", and I know the Lovities, we talk a lot. I know that in your show you talk a lot about the path and a lot, about what people have, that it's not just, doesn't just happen. And sometimes we need to recalibrate and recalculate. And with opera, I had to recalibrate. I'm 38 now. And 3 years ago, I decided to move on from pursuing an opera career for several reasons. One of which was just the financial viability of a performance career like that. Considering I live in New York, and the things, and I wanted to have the life that I want, and not sacrifice that just to say that I am pursuing a certain path. I actually am a big believer that if we don't align our values with our career and make career decisions based on our values and what we see as our own happiness, that is the recipe for disaster. And I feel like a lot of the artists that we know, either personally or, over the, celebrities who have been, involved in drugs, in, severe depression, sometimes to the point of suicide, a lot of that had to do with alignment. You know, I a lot of the time I give Kurt Cobain as an example, someone who did not necessarily want that success and had a very hard time dealing with that and that whole situation. So for me, it's always very important, even as an artist. And I just want to say, you know, if there are any artists watching, I'm just going to say this right to the camera. Align your career with the way you want your life to look like. Align your career with the way that you want your life to look like. Just because you are living a life that is good for you and that is comfortable financially and that is allowing you to do all the things that you wanted to do does not make you less of an artist. And I just want you to know that. And I'm here for you. So I just want to put it out there.
It's so true, because sometimes we do what everybody else says we should be doing, and you need to go here and do this and do this, and it doesn't speak to your heart. And through this pandemic situation, I think a lot of people have been looking in the mirror and saying, hey, what have I done thus far? What do I want to do going forward? And they're making changes. Some people are leaving corporate careers and a lot of different things because they want to do things that really touch their heart and then inspire and reach other people, which is, it's a beautiful thing in so many different ways. And obviously that's something that you love to do through all the different things you've had an opportunity to do, Gilad. And it's really, truly amazing. You're living your bliss. You're living, you know, the dream in the ways that you define it and want it to be, right? Which is, it doesn't come overnight. It doesn't always come. Sometimes when it does come overnight, it's not always earned. It's not always appreciated. It's not as rich an experience, not monetarily, but just the depth of the actual experience. I've always been somebody who has sort of followed the farm system. You do this, you work hard, and then you move to the next level, and you earn it, and you go. Sometimes there's some help, or sometimes there's somebody who grabs your hand and says, you're great for this. And that takes you to the next level because they see something in you and they believe in you. But when you know you're earning it and you're doing it, it's your creation, or at least you've had involvement and it's being respected, honored, appreciated, and enjoyed, it's the ultimate of all experiences when it comes to these kinds of things we do in life, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I cannot agree with you enough. I mean, it's the idea. And yes, there are these kind of prescribed paths. But I know, because I've watched some of your interviews, of course, and people keep saying this is not the way this was supposed to happen. It just happened because, like we said before, you put yourself in a situation that allows you to be discovered, that allows you to make that next step, that allows for you to be seen by someone who takes you by the hand and said, "Oh, you're great for that." And that is such an important thing to understand, that we all have our own paths. This is also something that I talk about a lot. It's we are all unique, but not in the special and unique snowflake kind of way, but literally unique. Every single one of us has different upbringing, a different lifestyle, different lived experiences, different musical backgrounds when we're talking about, or artistic backgrounds, no matter what kind of artist you are or what kind of person you are. When we tap into that, that also means that there is no competition. And this is something that is also something that is so important to understand in the art world. There is no competition when you realize that you are unique. Because if I'm the one and only Galad Paz, then nobody else is this. And it doesn't matter if they sing the same repertoire as me. It doesn't matter if they do similar ideas, they create similar shows. It's a different thing because I am bringing my own understanding and my own philosophy and my own life experience and my own, way of approaching a project that is completely different. And this is actually, as I'm talking about, I'm thinking about your friend and awesome performer, Rob Evan, because Rocktopia is an awesome concept. And the funny thing is that my op rock idea was very similar. And when I watched your interview with Rob, it was amazing to see how much our philosophies are so similar and how each of us took a different path to create that. So it's really amazing. And Rob, I've been following Rob for years. I know about him. I've again, when you find someone in the realm of the arts that is, that has kind of the same ideas as you kind of tend to gravitate to them and see what they're doing.
Absolutely.
But the funny thing is that I did not know about Rocktopia at all. So what happened in 2015, I tore my Achilles tendon on stage in a production of Ariadne of Naxos. I was singing the Tanzmeister. In the middle of my solo aria, there's a little musical interlude where I do a little twist, and I tore my Achilles in the middle of the show, didn't miss a beat, came back in the second half, finished the show, and then got a friend of mine to drive me to the hospital. And 10 days later, I was already having surgery to repair my Achilles tendon. Now, because I am an artist and I work in real estate, I was stuck at home for 3.5 months with no income. And I was freaking out. And my wife, who knows me so well, Lisa, goes to me and says, I'm not worried. I fully expect in a month for you to have like a series, like a bunch of secretaries here doing some work or whatever. So that didn't happen. However, what did happen was I created Opera, which was a concept that I've been thinking about for a long time. And the idea was to have a show where I was singing both opera like an opera singer, rock like a rock singer, with a 4-piece rock band joining existing symphony orchestras for pops concerts. And I worked through it and, kind of figured out the whole thing. We recorded it on in February of 2016. And then I think it was 4 months later that Rocktopia had their PBS show. I think it was June 2016 or something like that.
And
I'm like,
that's when I initially met Rob and interviewed him on PBS for that special. He was in our studio for PBS television.
Awesome.
And then he invited me to go see the performance because I'm also friends with Renee Nesbitt, who was in it. She was the violinist. A number of the performers. We went and then went out backstage with them and everything, and it was really terrific. And the cool thing about Rocktopia ended up on Broadway.
Is that and we saw it on Broadway. And it was wonderful to just see because of some issues with copyright and things like that. And we, the idea of opera had to be, put aside for a while. And that's when things opened up for me to create Voce Nova with Natalia. So everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
But the cool thing about this, and this was really interesting, everybody I spoke to, regular people who I spoke to about opera, were really excited about the concept.
Yeah.
You know who really couldn't get their head around it? Executive directors of orchestras.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because for me, and again, like it was so funny listening to watching your interview with Rob and hearing him talk about it too, how this is your gateway drug. You know, like you get people in. For me, the idea of opera was other than singing what I love and just kind of putting it out there, was getting butts in seats and being able to say to people, hey, don't you see how when you play the choral part in Nessun Dorma, when you do that with an electric guitar, a distorted guitar, don't you see how that actually can sound like a rock song, like a Jimmy Page solo? So the idea was to grab people that will come in and then give them the classical side in a way that really respects the classical part of it, in a way that might get them excited to come in and actually pay for a Stravinsky concert, for for a Mozart concerto, for a Beethoven symphony. So that was the idea, and it was amazing to see how Rob and his team, the late Craig Fleischer, who was amazing, and
because Rob is also with Trans-Siberian Orchestra,
right. And it's funny because what they do, what Rob did in Rocktopia, I felt was actually a little closer to the classical than Trans-Siberia Orchestra does. Right. So that's an interesting. It was an interesting twist. And I think a part of it was probably Craig's influence as well, bringing the real classical side into it. And it was amazing to see how the concept itself is awesome and it works. Because we were
Absolutely.
there at the show, we're seeing the audience loving it, rocking out, and we're like, yeah, this concept totally works. And the way that
Yeah.
Rob went about it
He
was
was-
obviously a great way to do it.
Absolutely. Well, you are definitely living your bliss, my friend. And this has been truly a delight having you on the show. And we
Thank
have
you so much.
my sidekick here wants to wish you well, Mr. George Burns.
There he is. I was waiting for George.
There he is with his cigar and his dapper hanky there. And he said, you knocked it out of the park. And he said, you did well, kiddo. There he is. And everybody looks, he's watching. He's always down there with his martini, quietly listening. And
He would be.
He's the best. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, my friend, and we will definitely keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime, and I hope that you enjoyed the time with me and our viewers, our lovities, as much as I certainly have with you, Gilad.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. You were doing awesome work, and everybody, I'm online, giladpaz.com. You can look us up, and Voce Nova. After you subscribe to the Jim Masters show, the Jim Masters TV, you can go to Voce Nova Music and subscribe for us to us as well. We're on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the whole thing.
And again, I hope the show met whatever expectations that you had.
It was wonderful.
It was really a pleasure having you. Best of luck. And thanks for sharing all this energy and passion and enthusiasm for what you do so well, my friend. And in the city or on the island, I'm sure we'll get together and break bread. And and again, really spread the word about our show too.
Of course.
We would love that, Gilad.
We will.
All right. Cheers to you. And thanks for everything. We'll chat again real soon. Okay, my friend?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jim. Thanks, lovities.
It's all about levity, right? It's kind of cool. Take care, my friend. We'll see you again. Galad Paz right here on the Jim Masters Show. Good to have you with us, everybody. We appreciate you as well. And we thank Gilad for sharing his stories, his wit, his wisdom. He was very excited about being on his show. He was recommended to. The show was actually recommended to him. He's a viewer, a fan of our series. And again, some of the stories that he told about the journey to America's Got Talent was really extraordinary. And of course, Voce Nova with himself and with, I'm telling you, really fantastic voices, huh? If you missed anything in this episode, you can see this episode again on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, some other cool photos and stories that we shared along the way. But truly, it was really terrific having him on the show. Wonderful tenor, performer, entertainer. And really, really thoroughly enjoyed it and hope you guys did as well. We thank you very much for joining us, everybody. As we always do, we say don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the levity. Don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine is, of course, with loving family and friends. But my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years is also a very Zen place for me as well. And the ocean. Growing up in New York, out east on Long Island, and of course, being here in the greater New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area along the southern New England coast between New York and Boston. Love the ocean. That's my Zen place. Swim, surf, boogie board, sail, surf, float in it, just being near it. And we're just a couple blocks from it where we are here with Lovety Hall, and I absolutely love it. Of course, our channel that you're watching is Jim Masters TV, our YouTube channel. Show it some lovety, subscribe to it. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of our amazing content and episodes. We love having you guys here. Spread the word, share that levity. It's a channel that truly is dedicated to entertaining, informing, educating, and inspiring. And we have episodes all the time for you of this series and our Masters Mantras series as well. And take a look at the YouTube channel. You can see some of the other guests that are coming up throughout. We love you all. We toast all of you, and we say thank you so very much for joining us for this episode of the Jim Masters Show. You're truly the best. Continue to spread the word, spread that levity wherever you're watching around the world. You mean a great deal to us. And it's really an honor to have you here, whether you're watching when the shows are live or when you're watching these in the archives. You can see almost 500 episodes archived here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, with the Jim Masters Show. You guys take care, okay? We love you all from around the world. Be well. Cheers.